What's going on, Sumolings? It is Chris from AppSumo, and today I am excited to be joined by the Intellifluence team. We have Joe here. Yeah, look at those muscles. Friday Flex Day. Awesome. We're going to kick it off in just a minute. We also have Andrew, who's in the chat, who's going to be helping answer y'all's questions. For those of you who don't know, Intellifluence is an affordable end-to-end influencer marketing platform that helps you create campaigns, select influencers, send outreach, and manage payments. It's available on AppSumo right now, 1 year for free access, which is awesome that they're offering us this to the community. Super stoked to have it on here. I'm going to turn it over to Joe in just 1 second. 2 pieces of housekeeping. If you've been on a webinar before, you've heard this before. But if you got questions, you drop those in the Q&A box as we're going through this. Andrew is going to be hustling his butt off, getting you guys answers as we do. And we will also be sending out a replay. So if you miss anything, you got to pop out early for whatever reason, we'll get you taken care of. But that is all I have from me. Joe, thank you for hopping on this Friday afternoon for joining the Sumolings, giving us this walkthrough.
Hey, I'm happy to do it. Ready to go?
Awesome. Let's do it.
All right. I'm going to start my screen share right now. All right.
Perfect. And before we get going, everybody, let us know where you're tuning in from and what your business does. And a third thing, if you want to throw it in, let us know, have you already redeemed Intellifluence on AppSumo, or are you here to check it out to see if it's something you want to throw into your arsenal? Again, it's available for 1 year free on AppSumo right now, appsumo.com/Intellifluence. So, Joe, you're up.
Great. All right. Everyone see my screen? Everything looking good?
Coming through clear.
Beautiful. All right. So my name is Joe Sinkwitz. I am the CEO of Intellifluence. Andrew Evans is answering a lot of your questions. He's running all of client services and content, so it's very, very important. I've been in the digital marketing game for over 20 years. We created this product a little over 3.5 years ago because we had to. We were running a campaign for a vaping product, and the issue we kept running into was we couldn't advertise on AdWords. We couldn't do Facebook ads. I got all the way up to their general counsel, and they said, no, you're never going to run ads with our platform. We said, what do we do? So we figured out that we could get our product in the hands of people like Grim Green, who I learned at that time was an influencer. So, okay, great. How do we approach this guy? You go through his agency. How do you do that? Well, you have to put up 20 grand every month, and you need to pay us another 20% on whatever you pay him out of that 20 grand. Like, that's crazy. How do small businesses do this? They don't. Okay, well, what about smaller influencers than Grim and all the other guys? They don't exist in our systems either. It's like, okay, we're going to build a platform. So we did. We launched in the summer of 2016. About 8 months later, we had a successful lifetime deal with AppSumo. It really started to build that momentum for us. It allowed us to grow to the point where we are here a couple years later trying to give back. Let me dive in and show you what we got. If you see here, 76,400 something influencers, these are all people that signed up to work with us. These are real individuals. You might come into contact with other platforms that have a huge number of like scraped contacts. That's cool, but we're very different than that. We're GDPR compliant and CCPA compliant. So you have concerns about that, we have that covered. In here, we show a variety of metrics on the influencer. I'm just going to talk about them a little bit, show you some filters, and then I want to go through a case study that might be useful to you, because I've noticed a lot of you guys are digital marketers as well. On these cards, you might see something like Dwight Henry's, where he has 13 million Facebook in following and 1 million Instagram. You see some $ figure and another $ figure. The first one is how much cash. When influencers sign up with us, they tell us what networks they have, which we try to verify via OAuth. Then they tell us what categories they're interested in, how much money it might take to get them interested in doing a campaign, cash compensation, how much product compensation it might take them to do a campaign. And that's usually enough for us to get going. They also give us their mailing address, which we use to do geo-targeting later on. Now, at any point in time, you're always able to select whatever influencers you want to work with and add them to a campaign. We have a variety of filters, though, that I think are really interesting and that you should really pay attention to, because it changes the game quite a bit. I've been looking at some of the campaigns coming in. I think this might help. The first couple stuff is you could start refining by the influencer. You could look at the country. So for instance, I'm in the United States, I might be looking at the US. Within the US, we have the ability to go very hyper-local. So you could select state, I'm in Arizona, I could also select that I want a zip code radius of 50 miles from my zip code where I live. Please don't visit my house. Now that is just one quick way if you're looking to do like a local launch where you have a retail establishment. There's so much more though. One of the feedbacks that came in, I think on Monday from a review was like, hey, I wish I could search by language. So we built the feature, we launched it live, we started reaching out to all our influencer base to say, hey, put in your languages that you speak and your proficiency levels. You could look to see the last time someone's been in the system. Most importantly, because I know this is AppSumo, you could refine by budget. Now we have a lot of professional influencers in our system by nature of us being successful. So, you're not gonna maybe be able to afford some that's over $1,000, but you could absolutely say, look, the maximum I'm willing to spend in cash is 50 bucks. You add that apply, it automatically updates the list for you and you can go from there. You might say, hey, I don't care about this use case you're gonna be talking about, Joe, blogs aren't for me. Well, we cover everything from Amazon to YouTube. If there's a social network out there that's growing fast, we try to add it. Recently, we added TikTok for that very reason. We had a lot of brand demand. As new platforms come up, we will add them so long as we can publicly see their profiles. If you have an interest in a particular platform, you could even provide us audience ranges if you want. If you're a digital marketer like I am, you might really like this. We are consuming data from link research tools, Moz, Alexa, Majestic, and SEMrush. So if you have your own personal sweet spot and how you go about hunting for links, that's the way to go. So let me just go ahead and show that I am interested in blogs because that's going to be the use case for today. So blogs at 50 bucks a minimum, 5,000. If I take away just the dollar amount, because I just want all blogs, we have over 7,000 bloggers in our system. The reason this is very different than say like a Fiverr and Upwork, which were mentioned earlier in the comments, is those are places just trying to sell links. These are influencers that want to apply their influence to your product and or service. So you're approaching them in a different psychological mindset. These people aren't going to sell links to the random affiliate page out there. They get those pitches all the time. But when you're approaching them through a product like, hey, I want you to review my product, here's the URL that you could link back to, the acceptance rate is just so much higher. And I've noticed that the dollar amount you can get away with seems to be lower, but I don't exactly know why that is just yet. I just want to throw it out there. So this is the discovery aspect of the system. We are constantly growing it. We have an outreach team that does nothing but tries to find new lists of influencers to reach out to, tries to find new categories. As you find, if you might be in the system and say, hey, I wish there's more people from my country, whatever your country is, or my industry, whatever it is, let us know. Please reach out to support, because what we do is we try to retrain our hunting on social networks to find new people and reach out to them for your benefit. It matters quite a bit to us. I want to show you the actual campaign stuff. This is where all the magic lives. Now, you might see up here, I have a balance of like $43,000 or so. That is for some internal campaigns that we are personally running. I'm on the board of CopyPress. They're a giant agency for creating content and links. I have industry friends all over the place. However, like this year, we shifted. We've been dogfooding this so long, we're getting better results just using our own software. So I'm going to show you our own campaigns. We have a campaign wizard once we can walk through in a second, but I want to show you how I do blog posts. Now, it's very straightforward. I just let them know in a campaign what I'm looking for. I'm looking to collaborate with bloggers. I let them know exactly what my goal is because it's coming from the campaign wizard. I provide a decent looking product photo. I explain the required work really straightforward. You can't provide too much info. You could provide maybe a story, it might be too much, but give them exactly what they need to understand, what you're looking for. A 500 to 800 word post. I want to have a link to my post, plus maybe a couple other links to authoritative sources, just in case. When it's posted, I ask to please share if they're feeling generous on their social platforms. What's really cool is doing that and being just really polite is you can usually get some additional volume from your marketing that way. And I would talk about the various topics that work for us. Because this is a marketing site, we're interested in anything that kind of touches on those influencer marketing categories. We have suggested posts, like we look to say, like, which examples in the past have worked really well for us. And so we use those to help train the influencer what they need to do. If you just provide very little information of, I want a blog post, 50 bucks, and you get something back that's very different than what you were expecting, usually it has to do with the expectation. By giving them the expectation of what you expect, it's a much higher likelihood that you're going to get what you want in return. We provide do's and don'ts. You know, if you have like a brand book that you follow, please put it in there. If there's a specific link back URL that you want to have, put it in there. Now, granted, because we're getting links to a variety of pages on our site, our domain, we leave that blank for now. The most important thing is displaying in the internal marketplace. I love this feature so much, and it came out, I think, 2 years ago. What happens is when you create your campaign, all the filters you set, whatever it might be, if it matches the filters of another influencer, when they log in, they could see offers that might be relevant to them and they can apply. Well, that's really cool. But just like AppSumo, every week we are hitting up our influencer base to let them know of hot offers that they should be looking at. So there's a constant volume of people logging in and trying to find stuff. The better your categorical filters are set, the more likely you're going to have a lot of success. So let's say here, if you have an adult campaign, we do have support for adult campaigns. Just please check that box because we do have minors on the system. Let's see here. I have a valid start date. I'm not going to go through there. We can work through like the compensation aspects. We have a lot of logic baked in. Now this is a cash-only campaign, simply because we found that offering cash, whether it's a very nominal amount like $5 or a whole bunch of money, like 1,000 plus, it really impacts the quality of the campaign. Offer cash if you can. And if in the cases of like when you're doing like cash and product, we have logic as well where if you have your own site that they could purchase a product for, we support coupons and we support the values of coupons, whether it's a percentage off or a cash amount off. So when you're doing like a product campaign, even if it's for like a blog post, you need to make sure that the influencer is never like going negative on the overall campaign. Meaning that like if it's a $50 product, they need to either be able to get it for free or they need to be able to know that they're going to be compensated via after the fact. What you may notice on the side here is what influencers are seeing. This automatically updates as you're putting in new information. We really felt this is important because there was a little bit of a disconnect about 6 months ago or so where individual influencers were not able to understand what they were getting because brands, as they're entering information, didn't have a good concept of what it looked like. And so that helped to fix that. Additional filters, I'm putting in various specialties in countries that I'm targeting for this particular thing. I know that I have quite a few blogs that we still need to go through. I know Andrew and Sammy and Amber are all working very, very hard on that. When you create your campaign and you add these filters, at the end of it, you're prompted with a list of individuals that you could immediately pitch. Now, if you've already funded your campaign, you could pitch at that point. I do need to mention funds. You'll notice the balance up there. The reason it's so important on the cash aspect is because I cannot call payments an escrow for legal reasons, but it has escrow-like properties. We figured out how to drastically reduce fraud by the brand coming in, showing that they're good for the money, like depositing money, and the pitch is that those funds are temporarily allocated. The influencer has a much higher likelihood of saying yes to it because they know that that cash is real. At the same time, we protect that brand. That influencer will not receive the money until you are satisfied with the work. And at that point, the transaction completes. But let's show you some campaigns that we have done in the past related to blogs. It's still in the same use case. So you can kind of see the walkthrough that occurs. As you'll notice, everything's threaded here. We borrowed from Gmail's design aesthetic, where you could be like, I know on the plan it's 25 per campaign in terms of pitch applications. What you're going to notice here is like, even if you were working with like thousands at once, you would never get lost because everyone, when they're replying, it's all going into the proper thread. But you could see at the point of what they applied, what they agreed to on the pitch. You're able to determine, what you did. Okay, I sent the product. At each step, the system is tracking, and it has a checklist that kind of walks through and it understands. There's back-end logic that's always nagging the person to take the next step. So like if you're used to dealing with the bloggers or Instagrammers and you're constantly emailing, you don't have to chase them because the system's going to chase them for you. When they post the links, we have a spider that goes to see, like, is that link actually there before it wastes your time trying to look for yourself. And then you can mark it completed. It has a whole period before it releases the cash to the influencer, and then they get paid out. Let's see here. What else is really relevant? If you run into issues with a campaign, and this will occasionally occur, we have the ability for you to flag a transaction. What's really neat when you flag a transaction is it gets an admin on our side involved. This is why we don't like you going off platform if possible. When you keep all the conversation on platform, we can quickly see who's in the right, who's in the wrong, and help rectify the situation. If an influencer does not uphold their agreement of doing the work they said they were going to do, we get rid of them. We kick them out of the system. Generally, it's usually an influencer versus a brand, but we do ask everyone adhere to the terms of service. Let's see here. That's the primary aspect of the system. What we're looking at is like just different views. Like throughout the system, you'll see different ways to access the same information, like what stage you are in a particular transaction, how much amount, how much you posted. The discovery comes in quite a bit. I look at the discovery quite a bit. I think a lot of my team spends the time and the campaign details themselves. But that's really it in a nutshell. We try to add network support and grow the overall size of the network as much as possible. But our main goal over like the next year is we're probably going to be building out a mobile application to improve influencer engagement even further. And we will always be trying to just remove little friction points. Try to see like, okay, well, what in this process took a little bit too much time? How do we reduce that amount of time slightly to make things a little bit better? That's it in a nutshell. We do have brand-to-brand referrals if you ever feel like doing that. If you have questions, please hit up support. We're here for you every single day. And I think we'll probably have a bunch of questions or very few, I'm not sure.
No, we've had them pouring in. Thanks for going through that. Andrew has been hustling, so he's been all over them. Let's see, is there anything else that we didn't cover? I'm looking through here. And Andrew's gotten all the questions answered.
Andrew's good. Andrew's really good. If there's a question, we've probably already created a video walkthrough on that specific issue, and it's probably already in our FAQ, just by virtue of we've had to do it over and over and over again.
That's awesome. So I guess a couple questions from me. Who have you found that this is most helpful for? Like either the type of individual or the type of business? I mean, it seems like it's pretty wide ranging, but I'm wondering, are there specific groups that you see it working best for?
Sure. So this is essentially a digital marketing Swiss Army knife, and I fully recognize that. I'd say half of our brands are small agencies, and they're using us primarily for link buying. And then from the link buying, then they'll amplify those links too. It's like, so like one of my favorite things to do is I might do a long format YouTube video. And at the end of that video, I'll try to slice and dice it up into multiple usable content pieces. It might be blog posts from the transcription, Instagram stories, all that stuff. Yeah. I like to chain it all together and just continually feed it through a meat grinder to try to get as much attention as possible from that one initial piece. I just see that constantly. So there's a big chunk of people that do that. Then we have a whole bunch of like B2C e-commerce individuals, like on Shopify, or they might just have a simple WooCommerce store, and they're just looking to figure out how can I get in front of more people. And so their use case is usually closer to like Instagram, the typical one, where I have a simple product, I'm going to put it in your hands, you're going to do a shout out. And that probably accounts for another 25%. And then there's a bunch of miscellaneous in there. Like we get used for political reasons. We get used for like Hollywood reasons to like make this film more popular.
Interesting. So one of the things I'm thinking about just in terms of AppSumo, so one of the things that we do is we host these. We have a couple different webinar series. So this webinar series is where we bring on our partners who have a tool and we want to show people how to use it to grow their businesses. We have another, what we call our influencer series or our growth series, where we bring on different influencers, experts on, say, SEO or Facebook ads or building an agency. And I'm wondering if there would be a way for us to use Intellifluence to try to find some of these experts to bring them on to share them. So how would that use case work?
Yeah, so like I think it'd be as simple as going into Discover and then typing in a keyword phrase. It really is. Or just creating a campaign that says, we're looking for influencers at AppSumo to talk about, XYZ growth. And you're going to get applications. From there, you vet. You say accept, reject, you can negotiate. I like the campaign setup the most, where you're able to set it in the marketplace, just because it takes a lot of the effort off of you, where you can just rely on them to self-select. And what's cool is you don't have to worry so much about, is my pitch going to be sufficient? Because they're already telling you, I want to be pitched. I am interested in this campaign. So that's a lot of fun. We actually do influencer spotlight videos ourselves. So we'll use our own system to figure out influencers we want to talk to from around the world of various categories, either travel or business or legal or whatnot. And it's had a profound effect for us. I'm pretty sure that you'd have some success.
That's great. That's very cool to hear. What are some of your favorite stories? I imagine you've had a bunch of cool campaigns that have run through here, or people that have been able to connect with an influencer that's had a major impact on their business. Do you have any case studies that come to mind that you could share?
Yeah, so actually, I'll let even Andrew post the case studies in the comments, but we did a couple. Like one we did was with GhostBed. So they're one of the on-demand mattress firms. And so we came to them. I think we showed like a 15% traffic lift over year over year. So it was a significant enough shift. And their focus was primarily blog posts. Now, it happened to be that we had a prior relationship, digital marketer to digital marketer. That worked out nice to get in the door, but then we had to prove ourselves over that period of time. From there, we all ended up doing work with Her Interactive, which is a video game developer. They created the Nancy Drew video game series. Now, I wasn't familiar with it, but they came in, they explained what they were looking to do, the gameplay within YouTube videos. And that worked out well enough where they agreed to do a use case with us as well. So I was happy with that. So those are a couple different examples. Like, so one was really social review, one was blog post. And now GhostBed, they've expanded. Now they're like, let's look at the high-end influencers. Let's give away a bed. And like those are expensive, but so that way you got to really be careful in who you're selecting. But we're having a lot of luck with it.
That's awesome. That's very cool. Awesome. And I see Andrew posted both of those
he's
in
on
the
the ball.
comments. So yeah, man, he's on the ball for sure. Well, that's great. Do you have any last things that you wanted to share with folks? Again, this is available on AppSumo right now. It's 1 year of free access to Intellifluence, which is an awesome offer. We really appreciate you guys doing this deal with us. And it's super cool to see. I'm definitely going to be playing around with it after this webinar, see what we can put together. Yeah. What last things do you have to say before we sign off?
Actually, I'll give a little sweetener. Okay. I wrote a book. It's the ultimate guide to influencer marketing. It's on Amazon. Every, I think like 9 months or something like that, you're allowed to set the price to free. So if they want it, if people that are listening to the webinar, if you go and look for my book, it'll be free from midnight, I guess Saturday morning for 5 days. So awesome. Please enjoy that for being a Sumo.
Very cool. Very cool. And Sumolinks, if you're on here, if you've been playing around with Intellifluence and getting a lot of value out of it, it would be a tremendous support if you would leave a review in the comments on the AppSumo deal page.
Please.
Really helps us out, really helps other people discover this tool. Again, it's offered for free. It's super cool. It has a lot of value. Leave an honest review. If you think it earns 5 tacos, please leave it 5 tacos. But we want it to be honest. We want it to be detailed. Share your experience with it. It really helps us out. It helps our partners out. And it's a great incentive to help other Sumolinks find it. So we would love it if you would do that. But Joe and Andrew, thank you guys so much for coming on this afternoon and sharing this. And yeah, do you have any last things you'd like to say?
No, I was going to ask for the honest reviews. Like even when they're not great reviews, we still get something out of it. We have a negative review that talked about language filters. They're live now. So, please hit us. But still hit us painfully.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Joe. Andrew, thank you for being such a beast in the comments. I saw you just took care of that last question. That was outstanding. Thank you very much. Sumolinks, thank you for joining us on this, at least Friday afternoon for where I'm tuning in from. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of the day, fantastic weekend, and check out Intellifluence on appsumo.com/Intellifluence. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.